The family compound was a hustle of voices and bodies, everyone gathered under the wide leaves of the ancient mango tree. Io stood to one side, leaning against a cracked wall, eyes downcast, his mind swirling with the revelation that had shaken his world. "You see," started Uncle Tunda, his voice booming as usual, "we can't just let him stay here eating our food, using our resources, when he's not even blood." Ao's heart clenched, the words cutting deeper than he let on. Kahinda, one of his older brothers, added, "After all, an adopted child should know his place." The murmurs of agreement from the crowd felt like a sharp pang in Io's chest. Uncle Tunde pointed an accusing finger at Io, the depth of familial betrayal woven into his every word. "Do you think it's fair, Io? While the rest of us struggle, you have no rights to grandfather's land." Tunde," Aunt Remy interjected, trying to mediate. "Let's not allow tempers to flare." But Tunde was unstoppable. "He is not one of us, Remy. It's time he knows the truth." Io's mother, who had taken him in as an infant, sat silently trembling, unable to meet his gaze. Io felt the room closing in, the weight of his supposed adoption more crushing than ever. The whispers continued as the night stretched on. Families shuffled in and out of the room, avoiding Ao's eyes, their pity a bitter pill to swallow. Ao found a lonely corner in the courtyard, fighting back tears, listening to the night sounds that mocked his turmoil. Kahinda came over, feigning sympathy. "It's best you leave gracefully, avoid further disgrace." Io kept his silence, the pain of feeling an outsider festering. The next morning, Io walked through the village, the air thick with chatter. He couldn't shake off the feeling that everyone knew, that their eyes followed him, judging, mocking. At the market, Ireti, a childhood friend, approached with cautious eyes. "Is it true, Io? You're adopted?" Her voice was small, but Io heard the full weight of what she didn't say. "That's what they say, Ireti," Io replied, trying to keep his voice steady. She touched his arm. "It doesn't matter, not to those who truly know you." He nodded, grateful, yet skeptical. Io returned home that evening, steeling himself for more confrontations. As he approached the compound, he overheard Uncle Tunde again, scheming with Kahinde and his cousins. "You see, if we push him out now, the land and the properties will be ours, clean and clear." Io felt the sting of those words, realizing how deeply their betrayal ran. It was not just about adoption, it was about greed. His mother called him into the room, her eyes sad and pained. "I'm sorry, Io. I never wanted this for you. They don't understand what a good son you are." Ao knelt by her side, feeling the warmth of her hand on his. "It's not your fault, Mama. But I will find out the truth." His mother sighed, rubbing his back as though he was still the child she had once cradled. "God sees all, my son." But Ao was tired of leaving things up to unseen justice. In the weeks that followed, Io was ostracized further. Markets were cold and unforgiving. Aunts and uncles turned faces away, and even his so-called siblings offered indifferent shrugs when they crossed paths. Without a place of his own, he bounced between friends, each night a quiet reminder that he was unwanted. But as he crumbled inside, a resolution began to form. One late evening, Ireti found him under the trees, sketching mindlessly in the dirt. "I found something," she said, eyes determined. "You need to see it." She handed him an envelope, worn and tattered. Inside were papers, records, and a small note. Ao's fingers trembled as he unfolded the fragile papers, scanning documents that laid out a very different truth. A birth certificate, with his real parents' names, the same as his adoptive family. It wasn't possible. "Where did you get this?" he asked, voice low. "My father was one of the village elders," she said quickly. "I overheard him talk about things he shouldn't have." Io felt a fire he hadn't felt in weeks. He paced thoughtfully, the betrayal now mixed with something new. Hope. He stared at the sunset, the horizon ablaze with colors, much like his spirit. For the first time, he felt a resolve to reclaim his name and place in the family. They couldn't erase his blood, however much they tried. "I need to confront them," Io said suddenly, standing taller. "I need to expose this lie." Ireti nodded, an ally in his brewing storm. "I'll support you no matter what." Later that night, as Ao sat with his thoughts, he planned out his next move. The resentment was there, but there was also strategy. He quietly mapped out who he would approach, and when, and how to unveil the truth. Each step was laid bare in his mind, revenge for the lies, the ostracism, and their greedy scheming. It wouldn't be simple, but he was resolute. When the night turned into dawn, Ayo made his first visit. He walked out with Iredi by his side, ready to confront Uncle Tunde. The compound was quiet, Tunde's voice booming inside as always dominating the conversations of the elders. Ayo stepped in, eyeing them all. They jumped a little, caught by his unexpected entrance. The room fell silent. Ayo walked to the center, holding the papers in his hand like a shield. "I know the truth now," he declared, voice clear yet full of internal turmoil. "And I won't let you steal what's mine." Uncle Tunde's face contorted into a picture of disgust, but behind the mask, Ayo saw a flicker of fear. The air was sharp, tension ringing through it. Ayo passed the papers to the closest elder, watching as the realization dawned across their faces. His lineage, their lies, it was all there, documented. His heart beat wildly, the specter of revenge and justice mingling in the room. It was Ayo's moment, his unfurling revelation crashing over his tormentors. But just as the air exploded with accusations and counter-accusations, a voice broke through. That of his brother, Kahinda, shocked and stumbling over his words. "It's impossible! He's not one of us!" Kahinda was adamant, hanging on to the old lies even as they unraveled like threads. Ayo, steadied by the sight of Iredi at the door, stepped forward, unyielding. "Believe what you will, but this truth won't stay hidden any longer." As the room spun into chaos, the sensation of power running through Ayo's veins was intoxicating. But as the night wore on, doubt whispered, what if this was only the beginning? And in the mix of unrest, Ayo sensed more was to unravel. Secrets yet to be unearthed that could upend lives entirely. Leaving him at the precipice of not just discovering truth, but also confronting its full, possibly devastating breadth. The room was still caught in the whirlwind of disbelief, papers fluttering like fallen leaves on the floor. Uncle Tunde's booming voice deflated under the weight of truth. Ayo stood firm, his heart pounding with a mix of victory and vulnerability. "How could you do this, Tunde?" Another elder, Babasola, finally managed to voice the collective shock. "To what end were you ready to cast aside not only Ayo, but your conscience?" Uncle Tunde shifted uncomfortably, realizing that his support among the elders was crumbling. Kahinda's desperation was evident, but it was clear that their deceit had run its course. Outside the compound, the village began to buzz with the revelation. Whispers flew faster than the harmattan wind. Ayo walked out, needing air, needing a moment away from the suffocating room. Iredi followed, her presence a comforting shadow. "You did it," she said softly, a proud smile tugging her lips. "You stood up and spoke the truth." "But why do I still feel so hollow?" Ayo confessed, his hands running through his hair in frustration. "I thought this would make everything better, but it feels heavy?" Iredi finished for him, her eyes understanding. Ayo nodded, his eyes glassy with unshed tears. His triumph tasted bitter. Revenge, he realized, had not quenched the thirst for justice he had hoped. As the days passed, the atmosphere of the compound shifted awkwardly. Ayo was back, his legitimate place acknowledged, yet the relationship simmered with tension. Conversations hovered over past injustices, trust broken and stretched thin. Arguments flared and subsided, healing tentative scars from years of deceit. One afternoon, Ayo's mother tentatively approached him, her face etched with concern. "My son," she began, setting her wrinkled hand over his, "your heart must find peace in all this." Ayo met her gaze, confusion swirling within. "Peace, Mama? When everything feels more broken than before? Because revenge and the truth have opened wounds, but haven't healed them," she said, her voice gentle yet firm. "You need something more. Look to God, Ayo." Ayo sat beneath the old mango tree that night, his heart troubled and mind spinning. The moon hung high, casting a gentle glow across his world, now turned upside down. Iredi found him there, arms folded under the chill of the night breeze. "I spoke to Pastor Gidi today," she said, settling beside him. "He wants to see you." "Does he now?" Ayo replied quietly, the skepticism evident. "He thinks you might find some comfort in talking," she continued, undeterred. "He's seen what truth does, how it breaks us, but also how it can set us free." Ayo hesitated at the church doorstep the next morning. Pastor Gede was a kind, wise man known for his unyielding faith and gentle spirit. The old church doors creaked open without resistance, inviting him in. Inside, Pastor Gede waited, a warm smile on his aged face. "Ayo, Come in, sit. Despite his reluctance, Io felt a strange peace enveloping him as he took a seat. Pastor, my world feels shattered, even without the lies. Sometimes breaking open is just the beginning, Pastor Gide began, speaking with a deep conviction. God's truth can be harsh, yes, but it's also a pathway to healing. Io listened, heart heavy yet inexplicably lighter with each word. You see, Pastor continued, revenge might uncover truths, but only forgiveness and grace, through Christ, can truly heal the soul. Io leaned forward, a battle within his chest. But it hurts too much, Pastor. How do I forgive when all I see is betrayal? Not by your power, Io, but by inviting God into that pain, by realizing that Jesus carried even this. Over the next few days, Io wrestled with these ideas. The village chatter quieted with the passing days, though the judgmental looks and cautious discussions simmered. One evening, as dusk settled over the horizon, Io stood before the family compound again. It was time. He found Uncle Tunde staring somberly into the distance, his usual bravado stripped. Io approached quietly, the words of Pastor Gide echoing softly in his mind. Uncle, Io greeted, his voice steady but firm. I need to speak with you. Uncle Tunde turned, surprise tinged with apprehension. I cannot condone what you did, Io continued, but I want, no, I need to forgive. Not for you, but for me, for us, for the family. Uncle Tunde drew a shaky breath, his defenses crumbling. Io, I don't deserve your forgiveness. Perhaps, Io replied honestly. But Christ asks us to forgive, as he forgives us. So I must try. Tunde lowered his head, ashamed yet grateful. The power of these unexpected words seeped into the ground between them, nurturing potential reconciliation. As Io turned to leave, Uncle Tunde's voice, a mere whisper this time, stopped him. Thank you, Io, and thank God for showing us this path. Io nodded, his heart lighter, yet still processing the newfound freedom forgiveness offered. As he walked away, he felt not the satisfaction of revenge, but the gentle stirring of grace settling in. That night, Io found himself back under the mango tree, Ireti beside him once more. The journey had been tumultuous and fraught with emotion, yet it brought him to a crucial realization. Christ was the only way, Ireti, Io said, almost to himself. You were right. I knew you would see it, she replied, leaning closer. And with the burdens now shared with God, Io realized that while scars remain, they need not define the future. As the stars twinkled overhead, a sense of peace washed over Io. The family's broken history might never be erased, but it could be rewritten, one step at a time, grounded in faith. The quiet of the evening lay heavy with hope and healing. In the coming weeks, Io began rebuilding, not just in bonds with his family, but in his spiritual life. Church doors that once intimidated him became welcoming thresholds of new beginnings, steadying him as he reconciled with faith. With each day, Io found that the cord of Christ's redemption was stronger than any hold revenge had over him. At home, the Bible Io's mother had kept, tattered and frequently read, now had a special place on his bedside. Its presence was a constant reminder of the journey he'd taken and the journey yet to be. Within its pages lay words that gave Io comfort that transcended temporary satisfaction. Instead of strife, there was forgiveness. In place of vendettas, reliance on God's will. As Io closed the Bible one night, he whispered a prayer, one not of desperation, but of thanksgiving, for new beginnings, for grace, for the chance to forgive. And as sleep drew near, Io knew the truth he had uncovered was now woven with a deeper understanding, not just of himself, but of God's own story of redemption working within him. The end was not the end, it was but the beginning of something profound, lasting, and entirely shaped by a Christ who redeems all things.
Thank you so much for listening to this intriguing story. I hope it touched you or taught you something. For more stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. And guys, if you'd like to see a part 2, or you have thoughts on what happened, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.